The Portland Antifa Black Lives Matter terrorist and murderer gets himself killed. Swift justice. And a GOP lawmaker says systemic racism doesn't exist. And there's more to the story of Floyd's death, which was sensationalized. That's Scott Perry of Pennsylvania. Church with Jesse Lee Peterson is this Sunday, 11 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time here in California. Live from Bond in Los Angeles. Call in or send super chats. Audio podcast afterwards, rebuildingtheman.com/church. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. Make sure you're subscribed to Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel. Different from the Jesse Lee Peterson channel and different from the Fallen State channel. Fallen State should have a new episode out today as well, I believe. This is the end of Hour 1, Friday, September 4th, 2020. Stay tuned for Hour 2. It is 6:55 a.m. here in Los Angeles. I am James Hake. Jesse will be right back. A murderer finally faces swift justice. MAGA, make America great again. Making America great again, right? Revolver.news reports the Portland shooter is dead, killed by police during an attempted arrest. 48-year-old Michael Forrest Raynol, a former military contractor reportedly, the father of two, who has provided what he called security at Black Lives Matter riots. He was arrested, and he also called himself 100% Antifa. He was arrested back in July for carrying a loaded weapon at protests and riots and other charges, but was released, reportedly, in order to kill a religious man, as President Trump described the victim. A Blue Lives Matter Trump supporter from the perhaps center-right activist group, Patriot Prayer, up in Portland, Oregon. An Antifa BLM guy said, "We got two right here," right before the murder. And Reinhold shot the man unprovoked, according to a witness, the victim's friend. President Trump had tweeted yesterday evening, it may have actually been after the killing took place, the arrest turned killing. He wrote, "Why aren't the Portland police arresting the cold-blooded killer of Aaron J. Danielson?" J is in quotes, that's his nickname. The victim who died, murdered by the Antifa guy, Antifa Black Lives Matter guy. "Do your job and do it fast," Trump tweeted. "Everybody knows who this thug is. No wonder Portland is going to hell." And he added the Justice Department and the FBI. A police task force last night sought to arrest the fugitive, who remained free for several days since the last Saturday night killing. At about 7 p.m. last night, Thursday, the suspected murderer, Michael Forrest Raynol, allegedly went out to an SUV or something, armed with a gun, then came out of the vehicle and fired upon police who had come upon him. Witnesses believe that he fired shots at officers before cops shot him down. And they were trying to rescue him. They tried to do CPR, stuff like that. Like 30, 40 or more shots were fired. There was an interview prior to that, by the way. An earlier Revolver.news headline yesterday read, "The Portland Psycho Speaks, claims he had no choice but to kill." This anti-American, anti-Proud Boys, pro-Antifa, pro-Black Lives Matter Vice reporter, extreme left outlet aligned with HBO, affiliated with HBO, originally co-founded Vice by Proud Boys founder Gavin McInnes, ironically. But this Vice reporter interviewed this guy. They credulously quoted and promoted on YouTube, by the way, the alleged murderer as saying, "I could have sat there and watched them kill a friend of mine of color, but I wasn't going to do that." He was justifying his murder, right? You could just look at him and sense this man was lying, I think. By the way, Chandler Pappas, a friend of the murdered Trump supporter in Portland, reacted to the news that his friend's murderer was out there doing a media interview with Vice, and that was on Tucker Carlson last night on Fox News. This friend of the victim said there was zero evidence to corroborate the Antifa BLM liar's phony claim of shooting to prevent a stabbing of a friend of color, and reaffirmed that it was targeted and an unprovoked murder, according to him. His friend was shot as he stood right next to him before he could even understand what happened. And more good news, a Republican congressman says that racism does not exist, or at least systemic racism. And he challenges the George Floyd narrative as, what did he call it? Sensationalism. Nice.